thank you to Melissa and the whole Black and Global Business Network and team for the awesome job that they do. We definitely wouldn't be doing what we do on an international basis if it wasn't for you all and what you do. So, first of all, thank you. And then also thank you for entrusting me to have this discussion with you all about AI. And then, Melissa, I think your first question was around AI adoption, right? Is that
Yes.
correct?
But first,
Okay.
tell
So,
us, tell us
what
about
I
your.
do.
Mhm.
Sure. Yeah. So, Derek Knox Jr., I have been in the IT space for about 25 years. I originally got my bachelor's in information security years ago. And around then, I first started in the web development field. So, around like web development, graphic design. And then it's just as I've been in different industries, been with different companies, was with IBM for almost a decade, where I grew in the cybersecurity field. And then as I was in cybersecurity with the IBM for that long, I was leading a global team then. And then one day after having my first child said, "Hey, maybe I should look into going into business for myself." So the funny story around that is I had a meeting with the VP at the time because I was managing a team of over 170 people globally. I'm talking about China, Africa, the Philippines, everywhere all over the globe. And then running all of cybersecurity for what was called their Global Business Services team in IBM. And so created, a lot of the security operations center, a lot of the things that they still have in place today. I still stay in touch with a lot of those team members today, but had a discussion with the VP at the time and said, I want to look into what it's like to be more of a partner with IBM versus an employee. And his response to me was, "You have some balls on you to come to me and say you don't want to work for us anymore, but you want to work with us." Right. And I, just had a kid, like this was literally a leap of faith, right?
Mhm.
I could have been fired that day, right?
Mhm.
But long story short, IBM was our first contract. They're still one of our biggest contracts to date. Over the past, 19 to 20 years here, we've only grown with them as different things, as they parse out different things. They've always had diverse IT in mind. We're partnering with them even today on some huge like government contracts. And we were able to utilize them as a sub to where we're a prime during a
Wow.
lot of the during the Obama administration, but also the Trump administration, the first part of that, we were able to utilize them as a sub for some of the prime opportunities that we've done governmentally. So we do everything from cybersecurity to networking to cloud management to consulting to governance, risk, and compliance, security operations center, SOARs, like all of these IT acronyms. I tell folks we usually do it. We do it all. And if we don't do it, we're connected and we're partnered with companies that look like us that
Mhm.
do it. So pretty much everything IT. And so AI is nothing new to us. AI is nothing new to the world. AI actually was introduced in like the 70s. So earlier on, we're just now hearing about it because we see more people using it and utilizing the data sets as we talk about and go into this discussion of AI. Data is really the foundation of what AI is and what AI has grown to be. So as we talk about data, as we talk about you securing your data, as we talk about you making sure that you secure your customers' data, all of these things are huge. As we talk about AI, AI is just a tool for how we utilize and use data.
Okay. So Derek, your light is going in and out.
Okay.
So we can
Sorry
barely
about
see your image, your face. So let
that.
me ask you, because I have some questions. So do you have a presentation you want to do, or you how do you want to flow?
I don't have a presentation. I just have some
Okay.
talking points I can
Okay.
go over here.
So I'm gonna let you do your talking points, and then when you're done, I'm gonna come back and ask you some questions. Does that work?
That'll work.
Okay.
That'll work.
Go
All
ahead.
right. Is that lighting a little better?
It's a little better. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't really want this to be lecture based because I want to make sure people aren't falling asleep on me too. So, can anybody let me know what your idea, what your thoughts are when it comes to AI? What do you think of when you think of AI? Anybody?
You can just come off mute and just join in.
Uh, for for me, Maurice White, we go places. I really have started using AI a whole lot more when I had got introduced to Black and Global because that was like one of a small presentation that I also just opened my eyes up where it can really assist me in doing some business plans or some projections and so on and so forth. And that's how I got introduced to it. But I just know, and not trying to get too deep into it, but I know that we had went to the billionaire mindset in Philadelphia about 3 years ago, and there was
Right.
two billionaires, black billionaires,
Hmm.
and both of them came out with the same presentation about
Hmm.
AI and also about drones,
Hmm.
and then how they look at the world of business and where it's trending towards is AI, also drones, and this come from black people that look like me telling me this is where the future's headed. So you really need to dig in up on it. And that's why I had started doing that.
Right. That's awesome. Anybody else? AI.
Hi, this is Case Lane. I would say it's productivity and efficiency. That now you can do things faster, spend less money, find different ways. So that's what I was looking forward to hearing from you about how businesses are taking the tools that are available now and applying them to their operations to make things more efficient.
Mhm. Awesome. Let me get one more person. Any thoughts around AI?
I'll go. Hi, everyone. For me, as a creative, as a writer, as a coach, as a solopreneur, I'm learning more and more about AI and the various AIs, and then I have ideas and creating my own. And so that's why I'm here to just see what you're going to introduce us to, Derek, and just expand my knowledge and to uh, combat some of the anxieties about it because there
Hmm.
are people that I talked to about AI. I had a conversation yesterday with my brother, and he's just like everything is robotics, AI here, AI there, and not and some people just have this misconception that the robotics industry, the technological industry is putting human people out of work and not understanding that it's actual human people that are creating the various AIs. And so I'm
Hmm.
just here to learn more about it and just to increase my awareness and to share with others.
Awesome. Awesome. Anybody else? I don't want to miss anybody. AI, thoughts on AI?
So I can share, Derek. We use AI quite a bit. So we've actually built our own GPT, and we call her. She has a name, and her name is BG. That's what we call her, BG. And we took a
Love it.
training. Yeah, we took a training to learn how to train our own GPT,
Hmm.
and we've trained her to think like us, to be like us, to be focused on black owned businesses. So BG helps us quite a bit. We run basically everything through her. So like before, if we're writing the different government agencies and we're doing templates, it would take all these iterations. I mean, we can literally do it in a few seconds.
Awesome. Awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah. So AI, I usually tell people, so the fear is like this Terminator idea, right? And I think it was Katrina that mentioned it before, like robotics and AI and things taking over. And people have this Terminator with Melissa was talking about fear in business earlier, right? People have this fear of the new or the unknown.
Mhm.
And there's this fear around AI, right? Like we have all these sci-fi movies that we've seen growing up, or that we've even seen lately, where it's like the machines are taking over. And what I tell folks is that AI is not so much in its infancy stages, but it's still in its developmental stages to where now is a really good time to learn about it, right? And it's one of those things almost like the Industrial Revolution, to where like if you don't get in on it now, you're going to get left, right? We're at a really good place in time to where if we're working with chat, if we're working with deepfake, if we're working with a lot of these different things, a lot of these AI bots for social, for image creation, for business plans, whatever the case may be, for marketing. If we're doing that right now, getting used to it right now, then we're at a place to where we can begin to be not only innovators but real intermediates or veterans when it comes to AI and how we utilize AI. Because we're really in a place with our businesses to where if you don't utilize AI, it will replace you, right? I'm not gonna lie to you and say that, oh, hey, we need human activity and we need this and we need that, right? Like it's some things to where, you know, our human nature, we may get to a place to where we miss certain things and where we may not, you know, pick up on different things. Let's say like international exports, for instance, right? There are certain things called like HTS codes and tariffs. You have all of these different things to where previous to AI, we had to have groups of people that would manually go through and we would have to trust that their eyes would catch these numbers, right? Where now we can utilize AI to do that checks and balances when it comes to making sure that HTS codes are lining up correctly. We have correct tariff numbers, all of these different things so that we can export more efficiently, right? And then in turn, that makes our businesses more efficient, right?
Mhm.
As we talk about our marketing teams, we have so much data, and I mentioned this before, we have so much data accessible to us, where before we would only be able to utilize the data that we had access to, right? AI has opened up the world so much when it comes to data, because data is so important to all of our businesses. As we're talking about marketing, if you are selling coats, you want to know who's buying the most coats in your neighborhood. You want to know what country is buying the most coats, right?
Mhm.
And this is data that previous to some of these things, you know, the internet, AI, we just didn't have access to, right? You, whatever you're in, if it's IT, we want to know who's utilizing the laptops the most, who is utilizing cloud the most. A lot of this stuff we're able to utilize AI
Mhm.
to do it and to increase our network, right? And essentially, when you have AI doing some of these things and these checks and balances for you, you don't have to necessarily replace people, but you can repurpose people, right?
Mhm.
And that's what we did in our company, right? There were a lot of people, some different things, some folks in our financial team and our procurement team and our sales team that were running a lot of numbers that we have AI doing now, right? But we put them in training to be consultants, right?
Mhm.
We put them in training to be to do accounts receivables or accounts payables, whatever the case may be, right? And you can really utilize AI to do that. We have somebody that was, you can say, hey, we have somebody that used to do health checking on our systems. How can we repurpose this person within our company, right, to increase the value of our company, but also to increase how we not only utilize AI, but how we utilize people to where they don't have to be fearful of AI being a part of their job or how they interact with people or how they interact with customers, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes. Mhm.
So AI, just to give you some ideas of what AI is, it's a branch of computer science that focuses on creating systems or machines that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. So learning from data, we mentioned that before, machine learning, understanding languages, natural language processing, recognizing images and patterns, computer versions and visions, making decisions and predictions, everything from fraud detection to recommending different engines, different applications, whatever the case may be. And at its core, AI uses algorithms and large data sets to find patterns and to make predictions and then improve performance over time. So Melissa mentioned them having their own chatbot. We have our own AI chatbot. We have our own AI machine learning tool. And we do this because we utilize a specific or unique type of data that we have coming in. So when we have customers filling out, customer surveys, all of that goes into a file system, right? AI utilizes that customer data to say, hey, somebody didn't get an email within 24 hours. We want to make sure that we're bumping that time up to 20 hours to make sure that we get it before the 24 hours, right? So those are just different examples of where we utilize AI and machine learning. And then the question that I had presented to me was, is there a gender gap in AI adoption? What do you all think before I go into that? Is AI gender bias?
I think yes.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else?
I'm not sure. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Yeah. Okay. So to give you some numbers, in 2023, IBM Institute for Business Value report found that only 23% of women in leadership roles report actively using AI in their departments versus 39% of men. So women-led businesses are less likely to invest in or integrate AI tools, often due to a lack of funding, support, or targeted resources. So in turn, as we talk about like digitizing, as we talk about data, as we talk about AI skills gap, the World Economic Forum studies highlights that women are significantly underrepresented when it comes to AI related jobs. Women make up only 22% of AI professionals globally, in reference to their male counterparts that are well over 50 to 60%. In education pipelines, women earn only 18% of computer science bachelor's degrees in the US. Female participation in machine learning and data science courses lags behind men by over 30%. When it comes to algorithms and bias and how that bias happens or if it happens. One example is healthcare AI systems have shown that underdiagnosed women, due to male-based training data, have less access when it comes to this AI training. And then facial recognition software has a higher error rate for women of color, upon 34% higher than white men when it comes to AI and underutilization and misdiagnosis, right? So economic opportunity and disparity, AI related tools are being adopted in male dominated industries more rapidly than in female dominated industries. Women entrepreneurs are less likely to receive AI focused venture capital and support from accelerators. So somebody may be asking, why is it or why are these numbers so different when it comes to AI and that bias when it comes to gender? Because as we think about AI, when I talked about what AI is, when I gave the definition of AI, we think about machine and tooling and software. So how can software be biased? Anybody have any ideas on that? How can AI, only being a machine, only being software, only doing machine learning, how can it be biased?
Well, all the underlying data is what exists in the world today. So the people who are coding it are doing that coding based on their own biases.
Who's that, Case?
That's Kate.
You're looking at my notes, Case. Get out of my notes. But you're 100% right. It's the data, right? We talked about this before. Like data is king. or data is queen, right? Data really drives how these systems, how AI interacts with people. And if the majority of data that is being utilized by AI is data that is male dominant, is data that is only being input by males, then AI in turn will have those same types of biases, right? It's like as we talk about like science and different things like that, that has happened not only here in America, but in other places that have had huge racial biases. They have come from scientists that have just really given opinions from the knowledge that they've had, right? Does that make sense? Is that the data and the knowledge that they have, they can only give their input from that perspective. So it may be a very racist perspective. It may be a very gender biased perspective. It may be a very chauvinistic perspective. It may be a very feminist perspective. It may be a very different perspective depending on that knowledge set or that data that's being utilized for that particular thing. Right? We've seen how science has changed over time because science can only be as knowledgeable as the data, as the input, as the facts that it has accessible to it. And right now, that's worldwide, right?
Mhm.
AI is no different. As we talk about data, if we don't have everybody giving as much input when it comes to data, you see those I mentioned it before, those surveys and things like that that go out, men, women, women in particular, don't ignore them, right? That's your voice. That's your data voice to say, hey, we need more of this. We need more of that. This needs to be accounted for. This needs to be thought about when it comes to not only my data presence, but how data is utilized when it comes to other people utilizing it for marketing purposes, for health purposes, for healthcare purposes, for job placement purposes. That's really how you get your data footprint out there and really change the dynamics of how AI is utilized, but also the biases that currently exist when it comes to AI today.
And Derek, can I just add, so I met the creator of Black GPT,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a sister. She's a sister, and she's created a Black GPT. I'm gonna drop it in the chat, and it's free, just like the regular GPT. But she said I was at a presentation that she did, and what she was saying is exactly what you're saying, like the level of bias, particularly we need to put in more data so that we can train. But if
Mm-hmm.
the regular GPT, it's more of other cultures putting into the GPT. And so
Mm-hmm.
the answers that we get, that our children get, will not have our culture. But
Right.
with the Black GPT that she has developed, then it's around our culture. And then the other thing around AI that really struck me was we were in a meeting with a group on AI and ethics,
Mm-hmm.
and they were talking about how um, for the auto-driven vehicles, the
Mm-hmm.
AI is not able to recognize dark skin because the
Right.
only skin that was put in was white skin. So I was like, you mean if I cross the street and one of those autonomous vehicles is driving, and they were like, it's gonna hit you. It's gonna because
Right.
it can't recognize you. So it was in those conversations that really helped me to understand, yeah, instead of being afraid of this is something that we need to get in front of.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's no excuse because as we talk about not only women, but Black women in particular, they are the most educated when it comes to the US today. And those are just real statistics, right?
Mhm.
There are more Black women graduating from secondary education, universities, and colleges today than there are Black men, than there are even, their white counterparts when it comes to white females, right?
Mhm.
So there's no reason why when it comes to data, when it comes to AI, that there shouldn't be more input in relation to it. But the reason we see that is because we have these different gaps when it comes to how AI is presented, right? And it's very strategic, right? And how the media portrays it, how movies portray it. It's this fear mongering. Don't you need to be scared of machines. You need to be scared of systems. You need to be scared of this. You need to be scared of that. But at the end of the day, like if you don't get your data out there, if you don't have your input out there, you'll get lost when it comes to how you influence not only how that data set calculates when it comes to this machine learning and learning patterns to give an output of AI, but also you'll get lost when it comes to how others are utilizing it in ways that don't reflect you, right? So the gender gap in AI adoption is real, consequential, but not inevitable. Inclusion is not just a moral imperative; it is a strategic one. As AI becomes more powerful, ensuring gender equity is in its adoption and design will shape not just the technology, but the future of work, innovation, and the society as we know it today. So AI models, just to kind of give an overview, they don't choose to be biased, but they learn from the data. They learn from the data that reflects human decisions, right? Patterns and also inequities. So AI can unintentionally absorb and amplify existing societal biases, racisms, whatever the case may be, including gender, right? So bias training data, AI systems learn from historical data. If past hiring decisions favor men, AI may learn to rank male candidates higher as a result of it, right? Amazon scraped an AI resume screening tool, utilizing an AI resume screening tool because it downgraded resumes that included the word women or women's clubs or things like that. It learned this from 10 years of male dominated hiring data. You understand what I'm saying there? And that, like, if companies don't have these inequities in mind, then they'll continue to utilize systems without even trying to fix the deficiencies within those systems. And then that just gives them another excuse of why they're being biased or why they're being racist or whatever the case may be. Does that make sense?
It does. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So skewed representation when it comes to data sets. If AI modeling and training is mostly done by male voices, faces, and counterparts, it may underperform for women or minorities. Voice assistants often struggle to understand higher pitched voices or different voices or different algorithms when it comes to how we speak or different languages we use because it's just not familiar with it. We need to be more pointed when it comes to how we utilize that data, but how we put out that data as well. Bias and labeling and feedback loops. AI systems often rely on human labeling data. So if labelers bring bias, consciously or not, AI reflects that very bias. Bias can also emerge from feedback loops. If bias systems get used, they reinforce bias outcomes. Any questions on that? I know I've just been talking for the past, 30 minutes here or so.
No, I think that that's pretty clear.
Awesome. Okay.
So
Anybody else? I'm sorry, go ahead, Melissa.
no, go ahead. Anybody else have questions?
Well, maybe I'll have another one if there's silence. Derek, what do you think accounts for the gap in use? People are talking now about ChatGPT replacing Google. So it seems that it's
Mhm.
out there, people are using, the apps are free. So why wouldn't women or others just as the new thing out there be adopting it as fast as men are?
Um, I don't really know, to be honest, why women. I know in a lot of situations, especially within like inner cities, the education for it just isn't readily accessible, right? We run in Michigan in particular, there is something called this Michigan Cyber Week. Within this Michigan Cyber Week, we have a tool called a cyber range where we do these hackathons, if you will, for the different high schools around the Michigan area. Previous to us doing this, there was another because we bought out the company that owned the Michigan Cyber Range. But previous to us doing this, there would be a lot of suburban white high schools that would be at this hackathon each year, winning these huge prizes of their school getting like $50,000 if they won, right? And so when we bought the whole cyber range, my question was, where are the black schools at? Where are the black kids, right? And it would be the same thing in relation to gender, right? Where are the women at? Because it was a white male dominated area when it came to these hackathons, right?
Wow,
And what
that's
we
really
found is that
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, what we found is that the education of it, or even the realization of this thing, wasn't even readily available to the inner cities, right? So we had to be intentional in getting this out to the right people, right? We had to be intentional in connecting and sending this out to the right networks, whether it be sororities, whether it be fraternities, the Divine Nine, whether it be, NAACP, Poor People's Campaign, whatever the case may be, ACLU, all of these different organizations, we needed to be intentional when it came to getting this education out. So as you talk about, women being represented when it comes to AI and the AI data sets, I don't think well, I know it's not a issue of being or having the aptitude of being able to be represented. I think it is an issue of the resources that are available to them when it comes to having input when it comes to the type of data within AI, right? Just the pure fact that Black women alone are like one of the highest numbers when it comes to graduation and graduation rates of higher education or secondary education. Why aren't we or the people that have more influence when it comes to data sets, when it comes to AI, tapping into that demographic and saying, hey, there are some surveys we need you to fill out so you can have more input when it comes to the data that's utilized by AI, right? We need to be intentional when it comes to that. And unfortunately, we live in different cultures and societies to where there is a majority that influences different things, just like we talked about science. Like in science, they said that Black people couldn't learn as well as whites could, right? So,
Mhm.
and that was a scientific fact in America for decades, right?
Yeah.
Well, let me rephrase that. That was a scientific fiction in America for decades that they tried to push as facts for so long, right? It's not a thing of the truth or the facts that are or even true data that's readily available. It is the lack of not invitation to the table, but the idea that there is a table at all, if that makes sense,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
So, and Derek, let me ask, so on a global, working internationally and
Hmm.
globally, so first share some of the projects that you've done in other countries, right?
Hmm.
Just to give folks an idea of the types of projects that you've done in other countries, and how do you see this gap uh, impacting the gap from us as Black people
Hmm.
not participating in this process, and the gap from us from women not
Hmm.
participating in the process? How do you see that impacting us globally?
It definitely impacts us globally because and we're seeing it a lot in this cultural climate and political climate that we're in today. It's a lot of fear mongering, right? A lot of, oh, don't do this, or don't give your data out, or don't share this or don't share that. And just to be honest with you, we try to protect a lot of stuff. And when I say we, I mean like us, like our people, our culture. We try to protect a lot of stuff, not knowing that they already have it anyway.
Mhm.
Right? Like, but we need to be conscious of how, if they already have it, how it's going to be used,
Mhm.
right? And that's the main thing. So just to go back to your first question, Melissa, we do things in Africa, in Asia, in Europe today, and the types of projects that we've done is from everything from the hospitality industry to doing fiber to setting up networks to GCR in Ghana, which is governance, risk, and compliance, really helping them and their government when it comes to um, the different data compliances that they hold people to, or the different standards that they have when it comes to their government. They were adopting like these GDPR concepts when it comes to, when I say GDPR, Europe has these GDPR standards, which is how people in Europe and how people around the world needs to handle their data, right?
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
were real trailblazers when it comes to that. We didn't even have any like GDPR set when it comes to how the rest of the world and how even people here locally should handle data, right? GDPR essentially says if you're working with anybody from Europe, you cannot take that data outside of Europe, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So Ghana was beginning to, adopt a lot of those practices, right? What we were able to do in working with Ghana when it comes to their governance, risk, and compliance was say, hey, you can even go a step further and say the different countries or continents that do business with you have to respect your data to a point to where anything that they're doing in reference to Ghana is your IP, right? Is your intellectual property, is your digital property, right? So those are some different things that we were working with them when it comes to governance, risk, and compliance. In Asia and Thailand in particular, they created a whole what they called like data farms and data environments or not virtual environments, but these data environments or data neighborhoods is what they called it, where they would have these different areas throughout Thailand where wireless was ready and available and accessible, and where they did these educations when it comes to that. And it wasn't these educations to where they're knocking from door to door, but they would literally have these like QR codes on different posts or links that people could go to and be educated when it comes to how to connect to that, what they have access to when they connect to it, so on and so forth. We work with Nigeria when it comes to some of the mobile banking groups that they have there, and making sure that the encryption was secured, and making sure that their data was protected, that other countries, that other continents couldn't steal their data. Because when it comes to data and how we utilize data, to be honest, Nigeria is the biggest when it comes to really data sets and the type of data that can be used and utilized. Because as we talk about Africa, which is one of the biggest continents, on the mother continent, as I call it, the majority of people that reside in Africa reside in Nigeria, right? But
Mhm.
then you have the economic power where a quarter of that comes out of South Africa, right? How is that possible? In that you have the economics that are in South Africa, but you have the people that are in West Africa, right? But as we utilize data, and as different companies like ours that have, the continent, that have the motherland in mind, we can say and empower them when it comes to this governance, risk, and compliance, and these data sets to say, hey, own your own data, because South Africa is going to have to come to you when it comes to data. And at the end of the day, like, data is king and queen, right? You need to do anything when it comes to finances, when it comes to whatever, like, they need your data, right? That everybody within Africa and even outside of Africa is seeing how Nigerians access this mobile banking to see what they can do more of, how they can do it differently. Taiwan is even the same. Like, all hackers or all people know, all, data people know, or cybersecurity people know, if you can do anything within Taiwan, you can pretty much do it anywhere in Asia, right? Because they have a data set there of people and of different systems that is so unique and so different, but also so diverse. And that if you can do it there, you can do it anywhere else in Asia, right?
Mhm.
So as we think about data, as we talk about data, as we talk about AI and all of these different pieces, Diverse IT really tries to lead the charge, but also be lead the charge when it comes to security globally and cybersecurity globally and worldwide, because we know that as we have not only a foothold when it comes to protecting that data, we're also watching how we can utilize those data sets to make sure that more people and more people that look like me or us are represented when it comes to AI and other machine learning tools.
Yeah, one of the things that more we are in other countries, AI constantly comes up. I mean, it's like
Hmm.
across all the different sectors from agriculture to, equipment. And
Hmm.
what are your thoughts on what's the adoption rate that you see in other countries of utilizing AI? Is it less than the US or more than the US?
It is more than the US. It's just to hit on Africa again. Well, Africa, Europe, Russia, Asia, all of these people are utilizing AI. In Africa, we set up a group as we talk about more things that we're doing in South Africa. We work with the architectural development group there in South Africa, and we utilized AI to do weather learning, right? So it does weather predictions. And so even as they have like, your weather groups and things like that are there that give predictions, AI goes even further, right? So it's looking even outside of AI, outside of Africa, across the Pacific, right, to get weather patterns to be more accurate when it comes to weather data, right? So farmers know what to do when it comes to different crops, and when to grow them, and exactly when to plant, exactly when to uproot, the even down to the space of where they do it and how we utilize water, whether it's just regular spring water, or you have a little bit of salt water, whatever the case may be, or soil. AI does a lot of those like agricultural predictions, and we were a part of that group specifically for South Africa that implemented that. So we're seeing it worldwide in Africa and Europe and Russia, and especially in China, where they're utilizing AI a lot more than we are here in the States.
So one of the reasons we wanted you to talk with um, our companies as they are here domestically building their businesses and globally working on going global is understanding that AI is something that we have to understand.
Hmm.
It just so like when Maurice was talking about going to a conference in Philadelphia, the Millionaire Mindset, and the Black billionaires that spoke. One of them in particular, he said that whenever you see a generational shift,
Hmm.
you get in front of it.
Hmm.
You don't wait for it to take root and then you get on board.
Hmm.
You start to educate yourself and you get in front of it. And so he was talking about all of the different like 3D capabilities, all of the like things that you can do with AI and automation. I didn't
Hmm.
even know what machine learning was, Derek. I didn't know what VR, virtual
Yeah.
reality, yeah, was. And
Yeah.
they were they were talking about how you can have a surgeon in one country and have the equipment in the other country, and the equipment in the other country they're conducting the surgery. So just that all these levels of advancement that we as a community that he felt we were disconnected from. So
Hmm.
our niche in that is Black owned businesses in the US learning one that we have to get on board with understanding AI.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
my next question, and two, that other people in other parts of the world are moving faster than we are as a country. So not only are we looking at being left behind domestically, We're looking at being left behind globally. So Black and
Exactly.
Global wants to help us get in front of that. So with the last 12 minutes we have, can you talk to
Mhm.
us about some of the tools that you would recommend or you see businesses use to help them in areas like marketing, lead generation, client acquisition? One like, can you really have a virtual AI employee to do work, or how would you recommend businesses, to look at different platforms that may assist them?
Yeah, list the tools because it's so many of them. Even as we're talking about like website development, we're talking about, creating an application. We're talking about different blogs and ads like Jasper.ai is a good one when we're talking about marketing tools and blogs and ads and social media posts. We utilize within our company a tool called Go High Level, which has an AI assistant. It also has AI capabilities when it comes to the different posts that you can do on social media, all of the social media platforms from LinkedIn to Facebook to Instagram. You can input those in the Go High Level. And Splinter is another one where you can input those into your social media groups or your social media platforms. And then as you have different things that are going on or different things that you want to market, you may not even have the designs for it. You pretty much just type in, we're selling manufacturing parts out of Ohio, and need a post for that. It'll not only draft a post for you to post to all of your social media platforms at the same time, but it'll also draft the image for you as well, right? As we talk about fast, content creation, copy.ai, when it comes to your emails or different product descriptions. As we talk about how we can increase our web presence, SEO, Surfer SEO is a good one for that.
Wait,
As we talk,
Surfer SEO?
yes, ma'am, Surfer SEO,
Okay,
Surfer SEO.
okay.
So as you're talking about, you want to be number one. If you have a unique name, you want to be number one when somebody types that name in. So Surfer SEO is a good one. 7sense is another good one when we're talking about AI based like email sending and time optimization. Um, what else? Customer service. You have your chat bots and things like that. Drift is a good one when it comes to AI powered chat bots. Freshdesk is a good one as we're talking about like automating like different ticketing systems. So if you go to our website, you type in, "Hey, I need help with such and such and such." Like we have a intranet site. Intranet is really like an internal like internet site that we have for our company, that we send a link out to our customers so they can go to that intranet site, which is really like Freshdesk, which is an AI platform, and then it automates a ticket for them, right? It sends them some FAQs. Have you tried this? Did you test this? Did you do this? So we all have different things within our companies. There's different like scripts, if you will, within our companies, regardless of whatever industry you're in. You just need to teach AI to do that. And there are platforms like a Freshdesk AI where you can do that. It gives agent suggestions, right? So you may say if somebody says they want A, then we need to give them D. Instead of having somebody there that has to send an email and say it's D every time, you teach AI to do that. Um, and then you've heard of the ones when it comes to different productivity, workflow automation, ChatGPT or OpenAI, Notion AI, Zapier AI, when it comes to like AI logic, things like that. When you want to do things from like slide decks or PowerPoints, Beautiful AI is a good one. Um, I think Melissa, you all are using one right now, Fireflies.ai, when it comes to like transcribing and summarizing your calls and analytics and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even for HR talent, you have Hire View, which is higher HIR than VUE. It does like some video interviewing analysis and screening. We're working on AI right now that as you're going through interviews, it'll give us different cues if you're lying or not, right? So it has like, it gives different ideas of emotional cues and different things like that. So as you're like doing screenings, as you're doing interviews, whatever the case may be, it'll give you those different like plyometrics in relation to like behavioral assessments and things like that. Recruitee is another good one when it comes to like recruiting tools or automation tools around that. QuickBooks has AI features when it comes to smart categories and things like that, and financial insights. It gives information on that. You have Vic AI, that gives you, it's like an accounting platform that handles invoices and expense management. And then you have Zenny, which is a good one when it comes to different startup groups, or I think someone mentioned like solopreneur, right? Zenny
Mm-hmm.
is a good one when it comes to like a financial, it's really like your AI financial team, right?
How do you spell that?
Um, Zeni. So
Zenny.ai.
no, it's just Zenny. You type in Zenny, it'll pop up, and it's an AI financial team platform for startups and small businesses.
So Derek, that takes me to my next question. So let's say
Mhm.
you're a solopreneur, because
Mhm.
these are a lot of great resources, and thank you for that. But you running the business, you don't have a lot of people, you don't have a lot
Mhm.
of time. Um, where if you had to start out as a new business that is anywhere from 0 to 3 years old,
Mhm.
and you're in that, where would you start? Like to really give me some relief.
I would
And
start with like a all-in-one type of platform, like a Go High Level or Splinter. Um, Both of those are pretty good because they have a lot of sets in there that can grow with you as you grow, right? So if
Mhm.
you only need it for like, let's say you're adding people, or you just need like a virtual like AI secretary, that type of platform would be a good one because it already has those in there, and then you pay as you go, right? So if you need more virtual telephone numbers, it'll dispense those for you. If you need to respond to emails, if you need to send out texts, as you see a lot of these, like I'm sure all of us, we get these spam texts every day,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to like elections. They go overboard when it comes to those. They're utilizing things like a Go High Level, like a Splinter, that get a certain set of numbers for a specific area, or for a specific industry, and then just start sending out those text blasts, right? Like, check us out here, click this link, call such and such if you have any IT needs, if you have any manufacturing needs, whatever the case may be. It's really like these like all-in-one tools that, go as you grow.
Okay. So this has been a lot of great information. So are there any other questions or thoughts or comments that anybody else has for Derek?
I
No.
like to say is that it's like over the top. I mean, it's a lot of great information, and definitely for anyone that really want to grow, AI has to be a part of your platform now. I mean, you just got to accept it and just learn how to use it. And Derek, I just can't thank you enough, and also Black and Global for just putting you on this spotlight, because this is a lot of great information. Thank you.
Sure thing. Sure thing. Yeah, Zoho is another good one that I forgot to mention. Zoho One, that's another like all in one. So Zoho, Go High Level, we operate a lot of our like help desk systems for like our smaller clients out of those tools. We utilize specifically like a Go High Level, but we've also utilized Zoho, which is Zoho one, and that's like an all-in-one tool as well. So as you have, I'll mention it again, solopreneurs, if you get a big contract, you're going after, one of those big contracts and you win it, and there's a certain level of help desk that's needed, you can utilize those types of platforms at a really good budget. And then, you'll still have that look and feel like an enterprise type of help desk or contact center solution.
Yeah, we use Zoho One.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we use Zoho for literally everything. And
Hmm.
it's our CRM, it's
Yeah.
our chatbot, it's our bookkeeping,
Hmm.
literally everything we do through
File
Zoho One.
systems, everything.
Yeah, communication, the Slack, like our communication, like Slack, all
Hmm.
of it. And I love Zoho. I didn't at first. Let me tell you right now, I did not. It takes me a minute, Derek, but
Yeah.
it takes
Yeah.
me a minute. But because it was a learning curve, and that's what I'll tell
Hmm.
everybody. You just have to be patient with the learning curve. But I can tell you now, being into it, like literally, I can ask my team anything from anywhere in the world, and I'm just talking into the phone, which
Hmm.
makes life a lot easier.
Absolutely.
So Derek, we got 1 minute left, and you are in our momentum cohort currently, right?
Absolutely.
And can
Yes.
you share so for anyone who doesn't know, Black and Global helps specific companies to go after. Now we pre-vet contracts. And so we will pre-vet a contract, and then we'll look for Black owned businesses that can deliver on that contract. And so Derek is in our cohort currently. So you want to share your experience and how it's going for you?
Yes, I'll get to the meat of it because I know everybody's thinking like, all right, show me the money. Right, right. Where's the money at? Let's talk numbers. So I'll be the first to say, and we're transparent. Black and Global has put us in a position to work on the biggest deal we ever have before. We're looking at almost $1 billion deal that we're working on with the country in particular around data center, waste management, the whole nine. And when we talk about waste management, how we utilize waste as a fuel for energy, right? Because we do things like waste management, like waste energy data centers, geothermal data centers. And as we were talking about this, Melissa and team just set up some calls saying, hey, we have a company that does some pretty innovative like data center pieces. That one conversation matriculated into $1 billion opportunity, right? So
Wait,
what Black and Gold
say that number again, Derek. I love that. Say it again.
it matriculated into $1 billion opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And we're not talking about, just a one-off. Like this is an opportunity that, when we get started in this $1 billion opportunity, it's going to be ongoing, right?
Hmm.
We're going to be working with the people there locally. We're going to be involved, from start to finish, whatever the case may be. But not only that, Black and Global really put us in a position to really refine what we already had, right? And when I say that, a lot of times, you may have heard the saying from, your elders or whatever the case may be, is that it's all in the house. Like with Black and Global, I found that really to be true. Like it's all in the house, and they also help you to reveal the things that you already have there, so it can be utilized in a way that it can matriculate into revenue, that it can give you another facet to your business, right? Like I've seen Melissa work with other groups to where she's like, hey, have you thought about this? And that's a whole nother business for that group, right? But they're really pointed, they're really intentional and relational when it comes to working with your businesses. And we're one that will sing it from the mountaintops. Like the things that we've learned at Black and Global in an MBA program and business administration program, we didn't get 2% of it. Right. So we've learned some things from a refining standpoint, and not only from a refining standpoint, but from a, hey, let's set up a meeting and connect you with this person tomorrow, right? It's
Hmm.
not like, oh, next week we'll get with you and we'll send you out something and then you never hear back and all you have is some information that you could have gathered on your own. But they literally walk with you, they hold your hand and say, hey, this is the person you need to speak to, down to the stuff that we're doing. And like we're looking at transitioning to a whole nother state for our corporate offices. Black and Global gave us the names of everybody that we need to speak to within that state in order to do what we need to do. And I set up meetings in just 1 week with the list of people that they gave us, and was able to do a lot more than what I would have done or what we would have done on our own. And you're talking about a business that has been operating for 20 years, that has, over 100, employees and contractors that work for us, and that was already in Africa, Asia, so many other places, but we're able to do it with a better focus in mind and better ROI in mind because of the work that Black and Global is doing with us, and the education that Black and Global has given us as a result of it.
And then the financing piece, Derek, that's the part that I really like a lot. Like, because one of the projects was, oh, we're going to look at working with a Korean company, but Black and Global, do you have a company that can deliver on this contract? And so
Exactly.
this is what we talk about, where contract opportunities come to us, and we have to have our businesses that are in a position to do that. And so now, like, looking at getting the financing in place and packaging for the financing, and putting you in front of the opportunity to have a line of credit so you can have the money you need in order to do these deals. These are the things that we love to do to support our businesses. So we're very proud of you, Derek, as you can see, and we're so happy that we can support and serve you and help your business continue to grow. And the $1 billion deal, literally, this will be the biggest project. But this year we have so many projects. We have so many projects that we're working on, but it's taken us 4 years to get to this point, So congratulations and kudos on that deal. And we're definitely going to handhold you all the way to finish the project. All right. So it's 8:35. Any other questions anybody else might have? So if any of you, so thank you, Derek. You did a fantastic job. Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
Fantastic job. And, it's always so impressive to see what we're doing around the world. And you're a great example for our businesses, not just to think domestically, but to know that we are doing great things in the world and we have the talent to do it. And you show people, broaden their minds that, look, don't just sit here in this country and where you tolerate it. There's an entire world out there looking to do business with you. So
exactly.
So with that, as I always love to say, well, first, let me say, any of you who might be interested in working with Black and Global, you can email us at forus@blackandglobalbusinessnetwork.com. The team will put it in the chat. That's forus@blackandglobalbusinessnetwork.com. And as we always close out, and I love to say, I am your sister and servant, Melissa Muhammad. We are the Black and Global Business Network, globalizing our connections, keeping us in the Black, and we'll see you around the globe. Thank you, and good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night, all.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
that was great.
Okay, good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.